It's no secret that I'm not native to South Carolina. You can hear it in my accent, or lack of one, depending upon your perspective. I started traveling to South Carolina in 2012 and permanently moved here in 2016. My first exposure to South Carolina politics was with Congressman Jeff Duncan. I followed his account on Facebook and Twitter and was shocked. I thought, is this guy for real? He came across as a caricature of a Southern congressman, an extreme exaggeration of how non-Southerners would perceive such a person to be. But it wasn't an exaggeration. Here he was, living and breathing and saying the dumbest things. I truly thought that his full embracement of Donald Trump would be the end of him. Surely, if you tie yourself to that sinking ship, you are going to go down with it. But I got to give the guy credit. He was a MAGA visionary, one of the first to embrace the lunacy of the Trump administration and literally swoon over everything. If the stock market went up a little bit, he'd praise Trump. If job numbers increased by a single job, he was a one-man marching band for Trump. If Monday turned into Tuesday, it couldn't have happened if it weren't for Trump. So I would often wonder, is Jeff Duncan really to blame for stoking the hateful bile that comes from his followers? Or is he merely the product of the people in SC3, a reflection of the people and regurgitating the things they want to hear? I dipped my toe a little bit into his Facebook page recently. He posted the following once, quote, "By now, I would hope that anyone who bought into Joe Biden's promises of moderation and unity now realizes he was lying in hopes you'd vote for him." I try so hard not to engage in these types of debates, but that night I had a moment of weakness and replied with the following comment. The congressman is under the mistaken belief that unity means capitulating to the extreme right's every whim. No, unity means no childish, insulting tweet storms, no personal attacks on those who disagree, no spreading of absolutely verifiable disinformation, no golfing when the nation is in a pandemic crisis, no challenging of fair election results, no inciting insurrections at the nation's capital. The American people elected him in overwhelming numbers for a good reason, and I hope he continues to fight for the moral and just policies that were completely set aside for Trump's personal and financial gains over the past 4 years. I thought that was a forceful, factual statement and stayed on the right side of respectfulness. But boy, did the rats come up from the sewers to let me know what they thought. Quote, "You've been brainwashed. Are you actually that stupid? The election was rigged. Democratic socialists believe only what they're told like good little sheeple. I truly feel sorry for you. You will suffer." Over 80 replies just like that. That told me he was a product of the people. But then I was listening to Bakari Sellers last week, speaking with Vincent Shaheen and Joel Lurie recently on their podcast, Bourbon in the Back Room. I don't know Bakari Sellers personally, but I listen to his podcast religiously, and I like his style. It also sounds like he's going to take a strong run as U.S. Congressman after Jim Clyburn has relinquished his seat. Long from now, may that be. Anyhow, this is what Bakari said about Jeff Duncan.
Jeff Duncan, who is not even arguably the worst member of the United States Congress. was like chair of ag, right?
And I used to go hunting with. And
and then he was like a decently cool guy. Like we organized an auctioneer.
Wait a minute, let's stop there. What happened to him?
I don't think anything happened. I think Jeff's always been this way.
Okay.
Didn't Jeff like an auctioneer by trade?
He was an auctioneer by trade. I think Jeff, and this goes to your point about relationships. Yeah. I think he was compelled to be normal when he came to the legislature. Yeah. He can now be himself in the United States.
Because he's in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. I mean, he's an awful congressman. All he does is stoke fear and play in bigotry and racism and xenophobia.
Did you enjoy?
So, what's the truth? Is Jeff Duncan an inherently horrible person? Or is he the product of horrible people? Why can't it be both? That's it for today's Monday Musings. And if you're not actively involved in this game of politics, it's going to run right over you. Step off the sidelines and let your voice be heard.